Have you ever tried to get up and over the jeans hem that's really, really thick? I'm going to show you how you use the height compensation tool that came with your Bernina and see how easy it is to go over it. I'm also going to take a little detour and show you how you can do a little top stitching and cheat with the blind hem foot. So I'm going to start off by doing just a 5/8 inch seam. I'm going to use stitch number 5. That's that security stitch. I'm going to do a couple stitches forward and back for me automatically, so I didn't have to hold the reverse button in. So all the way down to the end of your project. Touch the reverse button one time. We have that in another video if you haven't seen that yet. All right, let it finish. Pull that open. Now normally what I do is take this and press it open. But we're going to try something real quick. I'm going to have this seam, I've got it kind of pressed over to the left side, switching to the blind hem foot. Now, an edge stitch foot number 10 for the Bernina, is a foot I use all the time. But in a pinch, if I don't have that foot, and I'm not doing center needle position, because that blade goes all the way down through the foot. So it's not ideal for everything, but I can cheat just a little bit. What I'm going to do is put the blade so it's sitting right in the seam that I just did. I'm going to take a straight stitch and move the needle position to the far left. So that little dot is hanging underneath the 0 for the stitch width. Do some top stitching. I'm going to go ahead and lengthen out the stitch length. If you don't, those stitches start to look a little small. And all I'm doing is just kind of holding that open as I stitch. And I'm watching the blade go right down the seam of my fabric. Look what you get here. You're going to find a perfect set of top stitching. How easy is that? Now, if it's too small, the stitch length too small, kind of gets a little teeny. It's hard to see. When you lengthen it out, I went to 3. It looks really good. Back to a regular foot. Now to talk about when we start to fold that up all the way, oh gosh, you know how it usually is. It's usually folded up a couple times, 1 and 2, how thick that gets when you sew. Now, first off, a lot of people will want to stitch from this side because they can see where they are in relationship to the seam. But that's not top stitching. Top stitching is called top stitching because you sew from the top. All right, I'm bringing the stitch needle position back to the center. And go ahead and just set that up. I would have pressed this and pinned this, but for today, I'm just going to go ahead and set this in here. Also, make sure that your stitch length is still a little bit longer. All right, so here's what you want to do. Set the machine so the needle stops in the down position. Needle down. Then, with your height compensation tool, it looks like this in your accessory bag. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to use about 2 levels worth. That's going to help me get up and over this seam. So here's what's going to happen. You notice when your foot starts to go up a mountain. So here's how it's going up. This is where people start to help push it and then they break a needle. Or those stitches start to get so small that, they don't look good. But if you stop, I'm going to just take one more stitch. Yep, I definitely need it. What we're going to do is we're going to level this foot out. So lift up the presser foot behind. Take your tool, put it underneath the presser foot, right up to that needle that's staying in your fabric. And then when you lower it, look how level it is. This is like when they take the ships through the Panama Canal. They bring them in and they lift them up to the next level. By having level pressure against this foot, against your feed dogs, you're going to have even stitching. The machine doesn't care how much fabric's underneath as long as the foot is level. Watch this. Just go ahead and stitch. We're now on the seam area. You can see where I'm going to come off of it in just a few more stitches. But before I come off of it, I'm going to stop. When you just normally sew, oftentimes you get a long stitch or a skip stitch. That's not good either. Take your same tool that kind of popped out the back when it was done and being used, slide it under a toe, and just like this, you can just bring the foot. It's going to stitch kind of half on this, half of the back is still on the seam, and just pretty much go forward far enough that when you take this out, I'm going to lift the foot up, lower it down, that the foot is now level back onto your fabric. How easy is that? All right, so I'm going to bring my needle up, and let's take a look at those stitches. Now, I would have switched to a denim needle because often this is much thicker than this particular piece of fabric. But isn't that nice how easy it is to get up and over such a thick seam? Another place to use this is, let's say you're starting right near an edge, and when you lower down something on a really thick fabric, you sometimes get hung up on that back part and lots of little stitches, or again, you're trying to help push it through and that doesn't work. Just take the same tool, put it underneath your foot, so it feels like there's something behind it, and you'll be able to start right on the edge of your fabric with no problem whatsoever. So if I want to start here, just go ahead and guide it. It thinks it's level, so it's going to stitch. And away you go. So give that a try. That is one great tool that Bernina includes with all their machines.